What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Coach T, with Chicago Bears 360 with Coach T and Swifty. Welcome to the show. Do me a favor as you come into the chat, man. Run them likes up. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel, man. And then also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Bears360_Coach T. Listen, man, fresh off a business trip to London, UK, London, England. I know some nuances and differences there. Don't want to disrespect anybody. But listen, fresh off that trip, man. So Coach T is a little bit jet lagged. Had a great time. Took care of business. Couldn't wait to get back because camp started while I started the business trip. So I had to try and keep up with the time zone and try and keep up with what was going on. Shout out to my boy Swifty for keeping us abreast of what was going on. Swifty's going to join us later. We're going to have a special guest on the show. Listen, we're talking all things camp, man. We're talking about all things Bears camp, man. Justin Fields, the O-line. What's going on with Tevin Jenkins? Surprises on the O-line. Wide receiver battles and performance, bro. DBs, the corners, the safeties, the linebackers, the D-line. Some coaching concerns I may be having looking at some of the film footages and the other drills. We're going to talk about that on the Coach T's playbook section. So tap in, tune in, man. Get this chat buzzing, bro. We're back. We got football. We're back 2 weeks away from preseason. As you can hear, I'm so excited, man. We got plenty to talk about. Let's get into it. Y'all know what's next. Cue the intro. Maestro. Contra.
Life like chess, move to pieces, you know I roll in silence. On the road to them Benjis, I fill my teeth with diamonds. I'm high as fuck in the sky, you would've thought I'm pilot. I'm from Chicago, it get ugly, fill the streets with violence. Life like chess, move to pieces, you know I roll in silence.
Past, present, future. We bear down.
And there you have it with the intro. Shout out to my boy G Don't Crash. Go follow G Don't Crash on YouTube, man, to provide the intro music. Hot flames out there. New singles coming out. Appreciate the support. Everybody, do me a favor, like I said earlier, man. Like, subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you haven't read it. If you're watching this on replay. Also, follow on Bears360_Coach T on Twitter. I'm very active on Twitter, man. Exchanging thoughts, concerns, gripes, complaints. Joking off, letting off jokes, man. I do it all on Twitter, man. Just try to educate in general, man, about football 101. That's why I started the channel, man. That's the difference. That's the nuance. That's what separates us from other Bears channels. Listen, man, as me and Swifty always say, bro, it's knowledge over narratives and research over me search, man, here at Bears, Chicago Bears 360 with Coach T and Swifty. Y'all know what's next, man. Gotta give a shout out to my field soldiers. I still somehow managed to mess up the graphic on that. They're supposed to be the apostrophe over after the S, but so y'all don't call it to me, man. I do this in my spare time. I'll fix the graphic. Don't cook me in the comment section, bro. We'll fix it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not work for me, bro. This is a labor of love, bro. I'm a Bears fan. I love football. So, you know what I'm saying? I don't hold myself to the same standard I do at work, but I'll fix it for you. For those English majors out there that love to, you know what I'm saying, cook me in the comments. I should leave it wrong because y'all make more comments about that stuff and run my algorithm up, you know what I'm saying, when y'all see stuff like that. So I should play a little chill out mind tricks right there. But shout out to all my field soldiers, man. Those are the guys that liked, subscribe, mainly subscribe, right, to the channel. Those are my subscribers, man. So we're trying to do this new thing on Chicago Bears 360s where I make space for the subscribers, particularly the ones that's, creating their own YouTube channels for various topics. Some of them just have topics in general on their pages, their social media outlets. Some of them talking Bears, some of them talking about Bulls, some of them maybe even talking Blackhawks or something like that. We're in there with all of it, bro. So I'm trying to have those subscribers that own channels or have basically Bears content and followers on Twitter or something like that. I'm trying to use this platform to elevate other platforms, man, if you will. So we're going to have a couple guys on the show that are starting out on their YouTube or social media journeys on the show, man, that they're Bears fans that I respect highly. I want to have on the show, man. Later, we're going to talk about that. But we're going to get into comment section. So if y'all have any comments or comments you want me to highlight, also any questions, definitely drop those comments down in the chat. We're going to discuss those or answer your question it goes down in the DM section of the show. I got some stuff I want to address in Coach T's playbook. And then, y'all, I got a surprise drunk uncle for y'all for the week. It just happens like that, man, that, we have a drunk uncle. And there's going to be plenty of opportunities to sign the Drunk Uncle of the Week award as the season approaches and throughout the season. The Drunk Uncle Award, if you guys haven't subscribed before, those are media outlets, Bears Twitter accounts that are well known. Even my show and me and my takes and Swifty. Nobody's exempt from getting the Drunk Uncle of the Award week, and I have a surprise Drunk Uncle for y'all this week. So definitely tap in, man. Tap in. So, Bears fans, what are y'all thinking about what's happening in camp so far, man? I want y'all's thoughts on everything. We're going to start with the offense, man. We're going to make our way to the defense. Hopefully by then our guests would have tapped in. And then later on in the show, we're going to have Swifty come in and drop his takes and his opinions on our stuff and give us updates. How do y'all feel, man, about, what we're seeing so far in the form of, outputs and talent from Bears camp so far? I'll start with the coaching. I'll start with the coaching staff, and I'll focus on that first, and then I'll get into offense, defense, and then some of the specific position groups. My first take, man, on camp, man, is it looks like what we're seeing from the camp is what we expected, man. So what we've been describing, me and Swifty, as far as, Matt Eberflus coming in and developing a culture, setting the tone, right? I think, I made this comment on a Spaces Live with the Three Kings that they had back while I was in London. They had a Spaces on Twitter live, and I made this comment, right? A lot of these young players that we brought in, right, and to get rid of a lot of the old players, a lot of the senior vets, the idea, right, the purpose behind that was to reestablish a culture, right, to reestablish a new culture and make Justin Fields the undisputed, right, leader in that locker room. Justin needs to be the loudest voice in that locker room. He's the future of the franchise. And he's taking the responsibility on him to set the tone as it pertains to work ethic, right? Outworking everybody, being the first guy in the building, maybe the last guy to leave, taking extra reps when it comes to throws, understanding, working on his footwork, working on his delivery. Like, I believe Justin has done everything that we've asked him to do, right? What you expect out of franchise quarterback in this offseason leading up to camp, and then carried that into camp in terms of being prepared and doing what the coaches asked him to do, or what they're asking him to put his best foot forward and to be that guy, to be that franchise quarterback. Now, one of the things that I asked Herb Howard, one of the guests of the show, one of the friends of the show, and beat writer for the Chicago Bears, on yesterday, I sent him a message. I said, one of the things, Herb, not trying to tell you how you do your job, but one of the questions I have for Justin, if I was in the building, would be, has he worked on the nuances of using his cadences to reveal blitzes, right? So if you go back and watch my Justin Fields breakdown video from earlier in the summer at the end of last season, right? One of the criticisms I had of Justin's play, and it may be a coaching issue, an expectation issue, but it had to be coached up, right? Is using his cadence, right, to reveal blitzes. One of the things I felt like Justin struggled with was understanding blitz pickups, right? Understanding blitzes. And that's absolutely normal for a rookie quarterback, right? There's so many blitz packages that NFL coaches throw at you, right? Crazy, man. So we've been building ever since. Over 2,000 subscribers later on, man. Also, by the way, man, I saw this in the chat, man. Y'all do me a favor, but I know we passionate Bears fans and all this other stuff, man, and we have our disagreements and stuff like that in the chat, but as long as, man, it doesn't get disrespectful, man, y'all don't time nobody out or block them from commenting, man. Shout out to Don Burr. I know we disagreed a lot about, nuances of football and stuff, man, but let's keep it light, bro. I tell you what, man, I'll say this and I'll move on. I worked so hard in my career and my job to be good at my job and focus on that. This is a safe space for me to just get to be myself, man, and have fun. And my trip this week, man, reminded me of that. I need this outlet, and I need you guys, man. I need you guys as much as you need this channel and Bears football, right? This is our escape, man. A lot of us don't get, we don't get to have that balance in life, man. So let's keep it light, keep it fun, man. As long as it don't get disrespectful or personal, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem with having different opinions in the chat, man. Still waiting on my boy Swifty to chime in. Matter of fact, did I send Swifty the remote email today? Let me take care of that business because I don't know if I did or not. And I need to make sure I have my guy Swifty on the program. So a little administrative business, just because I don't know if I was on point right there. I want to be sure because I don't want to leave them locked out. But there you go. I just sent you the link, Swifty. Respect to everybody. Respect to all of you guys, man. I really appreciate what we did, man. What we're doing here. So listen, man. Let's dive into this next thing, man. I definitely want Swifty on for this. So when he comes back, man, we're gonna talk about this in depth. But I'm gonna give a little bit of commentary on this offensive line in this situation. I'll start with the Tevin Jenkins situation, man. And I'm gonna tell you, I think we can all agree, right, from a macro perspective, that it's very disappointing that Tevin has not been able to practice and participate in Bears camp, regardless of what the reason is, whether it's injury or whether it's his ability to adapt or maturity issues, that's being described, right? I think we can all resolve on a macro level that we can all agree on the macro level that, you know what I'm saying, it's disappointing, right? And it's especially disappointing for me because coming into the draft last year, Tevin was my guy. Tevin was the guy that I picked out of all the offensive linemen that I thought that would be the best offensive lineman of the group drafted with him, regardless of him being ranked as the best. I just based off of film and me breaking down the film when I was on Chicago Bears 24/7 with my boy Jesse. I broke down the film and I picked Tevin to be the top offensive lineman for a long time. Now, what we don't have the benefit as, fans of DIY media or fans is we can only break down film and we can hear what we hear. We're not in on those interviews at the draft. We're not in on the personnel or personal interviews and team interviews. So we don't know the reports and we don't know the background. So I'll say this, right? Whether it's injury, history, and or it's a maturity issue, we don't have the benefit of that. We can only go by the tape. And I can tell you, based off the tape last year, that Tevin, in the short span of time he played, showed that he can definitely be that guy talent-wise, right? Talent-wise, he can definitely be the dude, right? So if we bring it down and we granularize it a little bit, right, and we go from the macro level and start going into the rumors of injury concerns versus attitude concerns, I'll deal with the injury stuff first. The injury things can be fixed, right? He can be given time to heal. He can be rehabbed. He can be worked out, and we can take our time as a franchise and make sure that his back is in every, it's prepared for, or it at least gives us time to diagnose the issue, right, and make a decision for the long term whether he can do it, right? So the back injury and stuff like that concerns me less. You know what I'm saying? He can take his time rehab and we can ramp him up and bring him along with the team. That way we have, the left or right tackle of the future, and he's there. Stabilize his back, stabilize his core, right? Give him time to get stronger, right? Because coming off a surgery, right, it's expected that strength, that core strength, and also that raw power that it takes to be an asset at that position was taken away. But if you go back and look at my breakdown, you know what I'm saying, except for the Green Bay games, and I think schematically, Nagy and, the other offensive coordinator could have done some things to help him out better. He was good. Even in the Green Bay game, the first game he started last year, I saw signs that flashes, and it was his worst game, right? Where he could have been or could be the guy of the future at left tackle or right tackle, right? I'm not going to get into left or right tackle, but you know what I'm saying? There was flashes there. I thought in the Green Bay game, his first game, they gave him too much help, right? And he was confused about how to play off of running back chips and stuff like that. But I still say, you know what I'm saying? Talent-wise, he can be that guy, right? He just may need some time. That's it pertains to the injury. Now, we started talking about personality, his ability to be coachable, and all that other stuff. There's two ways to deal with that, right? There's two ways to deal with that. Franchises can look at that as a leadership challenge, right? If it's real. Let's talk about if it's real, first of all, because the source is Cap, related to these maturity issues. And then it came out just before I got on the show that Cap's source on that take was not even an NFL guy. And Cap's known to, you know what I'm saying, go off the hinges when it comes to, you know, quoting sources and stuff like that. At least have somebody tied to the Bears and tied to the game. But I'm going to address it anyway, just in case it's real. Now, again, the Bears have two ways of dealing with that. If it's a maturity issue, they can look at it as a leadership challenge and say, listen, it's on us to help grow and mature a young man, right? This is an opportunity to show our leadership ability and to rehab a player, right? Or they can say, listen, we're just starting out. We're trying to set and develop a culture where, again, you know what I'm saying, there's zero distractions. Justin is the leader in the locker room as far as his voice is concerned. And we don't set a culture that allows for cancers to grow within our locker room. So they can approach it one of those two ways. You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm a little bit emotionally tied to Tevin Jenkins because I picked him early on. And I would say get a guy a chance, but not at the detriment of my team, right? Not at the detriment of my team. You know what I'm saying? You pull a guy in, you have a conversation with him, you set standards, you set level of expectations, and then you say, listen, this is just like Flu has done anything else, right? Just like Flu has done everything else. You can say, hey, these three things are my expectations for you, right? I want to see you show up on time. I want to see you show up with a great attitude, and I want to see you work hard. Then I want to see you, maybe a fourth thing I would say is I want to see you be a great teammate, meaning you not only work hard, but you help your younger, less experienced teammates out, and you set an example for them. Because let's face it, you know what I'm saying? Your most talented offensive lineman besides the center is going to be a de facto leader along with your quarterback on that offense, right? You have to be a guy that sets the tone. So, you know, that's kind of my take on that. I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to go in depth about, you know, this, that, and the other, the rumors and stuff like that, because after all, it's all rumors. And then I'll say this also. The franchise, Matt Eberflus, that's been doing most of the speaking at press conference, they have a play on that too. They have a responsibility in communicating what's going on with them. So it's hard for me to believe that it's an attitude thing when they keep pointing it back to injury or sickness or illness. Again, it could be anything. It could be those two extremes, or it could be anything in between. The one thing I can tell you that time will reveal. Time is undefeated, and it will reveal what the true issues are, and they're going to come out at some point. So, you know what I'm saying? You know, we'll get a chance to talk about it. We'll get a chance to dive in on it more as Swifty comes on. But that's my take on that. I'll skip over the other offensive lineman because, again, I want Swifty input as he comes on. I'll skip over the other offensive lineman and we'll dive into it. Now, let's talk about what we're seeing out of this wide receiver core. Again, we'll come back to the other offensive line because I also want to use the offensive lineman topic to get in my playbook discussion. Let's talk about what we're seeing out of these wide receivers. I am very excited about what I'm seeing out of camp, the footage, you know what I'm saying, the accuracy, the catching ability. I think we have a great mixture of, you know, types of wide receivers, big guys now that we have. N'Keal Harry, I'm sorry. Y'all know how that goes. N'Keal Harry, we have bigger bodies, you know what I'm saying, EQ, bigger bodies. We don't compromise a whole lot of speed with those bigger bodies. But then we have the guys that have the most combination of both size and speed to win one-on-ones on the outside. So I want to refer to one of the clips I saw where we had Velus Jones Jr. at the X, and perhaps I couldn't see on the other side of the field, but perhaps Darnell Mooney at the Z, right? And this is one of the things I said on other shows when I did Coach T's playbook, and I still want people to answer for me, particularly people like Don Burr, right? This is one for Don Burr, right? What are you going to do? What are defensive coordinators going to do when you line up Velus Jones Jr. at the X and Darnell Mooney at the Z, right? What are you going to do? That one play that they showed, right? They showed Velus Jones Jr. at the X, Darnell Mooney at the Z, and our defense had single high coverage. And this is the perfect scenario that I described, right? When I said, yeah, they may not be the most name brand players, but we have done, Ryan Poles has done his job in terms of putting defenses in conflict, right? Conflicting defenses when it comes to personnel. You line up Velus Jones Jr. at the X, Darnell Mooney at the Z, and you can play single high coverage if you want to, right? You can play single high coverage if you want to. So what I saw in that play was Justin's ability to drop the ball in the bucket and beat either man coverage or cover three, right? And still, Velus Jones' ability to track the ball over the shoulder and win those one-on-one balls, that was exactly what I was describing, because defensive coordinators are going to have to decide if they're going to stay in single high coverage if we can hit those type of plays with consistency, right? You come up to the line of scrimmage, you're Justin, I see single high coverage, check, check, check. I'm calling 9 routes on the outside. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to look off the safety to one side and come back to the opposite side, drop the ball in the bucket. A defensive coordinator is going to have to make up his mind. Are you going to give up? Are you going to have to give up big plays like that, big games, or potential scoring plays, or if you're going to keep another safety back there, right, to help out? That's the purpose of having two high safety. When you got two, dynamic receivers on the outside, you need to have safety help over the top, right? But if you do that, then what happens? Now you empty the box of one more player. Now you have to play with a seven-man box. And if we prove next week when we go in the pads on tomorrow, if we prove that we can get the running game going and run the ball consistency, I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm up at night. I'm concerned. So all those talking about, yeah, we don't have the name brand players. We didn't do nothing in the offseason to help Justin, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? I expect that from national media people. But what I don't expect that from is from people that actually follow the Bears, that actually follow my channel, that actually know football, right? And other channels. When you really understand the strategic part of football, the X's and O's and the strategy in football, and it was confirmed by this week. So this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for to see tape like, is that chemistry there with Velus Jones Jr. and Darnell Mooney? You know what I'm saying? Are we hitting these passes, right? That time in there, it's there. And this is going to be a problem. This is compromising defensive coordinators. They're not going to know how to approach that. So watch this. Let's go to opposite. Now you move to two high safety, and let's just talk about two high safety with the passing game. Now you go back to two high safety, right? You're going to either go cover two zone, cover two man, or cover for a cloud, or some kind of cover, combo coverages, right? But you got two high safety. And I saw a play then too where they were in two high safety. Darnell Mooney gets the ball. He scores a touchdown on the deep post across the middle, because that's where the two high safety looks are exposed, right? So you go right between the safeties and you hit a pass right between it. This, guys, I'm not trying to overstate it. I'm trying to not overhype it or something like that. But in terms of what I'm looking to see as a coach of the game, right? As somebody that's a fan of the strategic part of football, this is very exciting. This is very exciting, right? They've proven they can hit it on the outer thirds and they can hit it over the middle. Deep third, deep outer thirds, and middle deep third. You know what I'm saying? Now you're forcing teams to go into some kind of cover 4 cloud coverage to try to keep things underneath them. You put defensive coordinators in passive mode. You put them on their heels, and now you can attack as a play caller offensively, right? And if they go to that cloud coverage over top, maybe I'll draw this up at another point. If they go to that cloud coverage, that umbrella coverage, now it's just a matter of you having your technicians, your technical route runners that can work in the slot. Cole Kmet, maybe whoever our slot guy is going to be, the starting guy, slot guy, Byron Pringle, whoever makes that slot position their home. That's when those guys start working underneath and start taking what the offense gives them. Also, Justin's ability to go to his check down. So when we go in pads, one of the two things that I'm looking to see from Justin, right? Because I expect us to start playing cloud coverages, right? Keeping things underneath. Justin's ability to hit, the comeback routes, the digs, the hitches, the curls. Yes, I know you guys don't want to see more curls after Nagy, but it's a part of the game, and there's a strategic purpose for running those plays, right? His ability to do that and then also hit his check downs, right? 2 nickels make a dime is the saying, right? You don't have to score big on every play, but 2 nickels make a dime. 2 5-yard games, 2 5-yard games make a first down. And his ability to have the discipline and patience, especially being a young guy, right, to hit those underneath, to hit the check downs, and still those things forces defense out of cloud coverage. If you're getting killed with digs, hitches, curls, outs, check downs, out into the flat screens and stuff like that, you force them out of that cloud coverage to come up and play the underneath stuff. So it's using every quadrant of the field, right? So if you were to draw a tic-tac-toe board on the field, right, and you cover all 53 and 1/3 yards of the field, and you put those quadrants in a tic-tac-toe board on the field, your ability as an offensive coordinator to attack every quadrant, right, compromises defenses. So if you want to stay back and play super cloud over the top coverage because you're afraid we're going to burn you, then all right, cool. We're going to throw quick hitches. We're going to throw screens to the outside. We're going to force you to come up, and then we're going to go over your head. I'm loving what I'm seeing. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, Don. I'm saying, Don, you know what I'm saying? You can't deny the film. It's out there, bro. The ability is there. We can hit these throws, and I promise you, you're probably not concerned as much as your DC is concerned. So I'm just going to say what I said, bro, and leave it at that. Shout out to Don, man. It's good for the algorithm. Plus, he's just, what I'm saying? Come on, man. Y'all take it easy on Don, bro. He doing his thing. All right. So I'm loving that. Again, waiting on Swifty to come on. I don't know if I can't see you. As soon as I see him pop up, I'm have Swifty come up. But listen, also, I'll switch over to the other side of the ball. We'll talk about skill position players. Rock Davis said, you coaching right now. I hope y'all picking up on this. If you're not, anything you're concerned about, like I said, ask a question, and I can go to Coach T playbook, and these X and O's, I can break it down for you as far as what I'm describing. But let's switch skill position to the other side of the ball and talk about DV and safety play. Listen, man, I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the Rook, Kyler Gordon. I feel like Brisker. I feel like Eddie Jackson. I feel like Jalen Johnson. I feel like those guys are making plays, right? So I think it's fairly balanced, right? Because there's an equal number of interceptions to plays broken up that's being made by the wide receivers. The wide receivers are scoring touchdowns in practice. The DBs are getting interceptions. So I think both sides are going through growing pains. But I think as we go into the season, we got about 2 weeks. I would like to see the defense winning a little bit more. I would like to see a defense winning a little bit more, especially on the burn plays, blown assignments. We can't have that. We absolutely can't have that. Now, I understand something. This is just, the T-shirt Olympics, the short, T-shirt, pajama Olympics and all that stuff. There's no pass rush. There's no hitting. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying, guys are going to make catches over the middle that they normally would have to be worried about somebody laying the boom on them coming across the middle and all that other stuff. But still, as we go on 7-on-7, right, we're going on 7-on-7, I'm still wanting to see our DBs getting burnt for touchdown a lot less. a lot less. Now, again, we're not throwing our whole defensive scheme out there to stop every little thing and all this other stuff. So particularly when we're in man coverage and manned up in a camp practice, I want to see our DBs winning, especially in cover 2 man, right? Cover 2 man, cover 2 zone. I expect to see, like we're going real vanilla right now. I'm expect to see our DBs winning. Those man, I'll say this, cover 2 zone particularly, right? And that's what I'm seeing right now. Thinking, well, I did see some single high safety from Alan Williams. So let's just say I'm expecting to see us win some of those battles in cover 2 where we have safety help over the top. I do not want to see us getting burnt going into next week, especially with the pass. Like I'm looking to see next week less plays where you're seeing wide receivers running open and scoring touchdowns like that on our defense, right? I love the fact that Justin and them are showing connectivity, showing that timing and stuff like that. But it concerns me from a defense standpoint when I see, our guys blowing past them like that, right? And we may or may not have safety help over the top. But all in all, we've seen enough. We've seen enough from Kyler Gordon and Jalen Johnson in terms of their ability to break up passes, break on the ball. I think both of them are going to be very physical tacklers, especially in cover 2 zone. Cover 2 zone, man, allows you to lower the boom and catch people coming across the middle or even, going on outs or something like that where your eyes are always going to be on the quarterback. So you're going to always be able to run up and make plays. And then also what I thought was particularly impressive is the description of them allowing and trusting Kyler Gordon to travel, right, into the slot, right, and play slot this early on in his career and experimenting with that. That lets you know that Alan Williams trusts him a lot, particularly the fact that we're doing it with Kyler Gordon and not Jalen Johnson, right? So it lets you know there's a nuance in the skill set there that they're saying, okay, we're going to do this with Kyler, right? And why is that important? Again, strategically, how do you expose defenses if you're an offensive play caller? You don't necessarily take your best player, your wide receiver 1, and you line them up on the outsides and you say play ball, beat people on the outside. Actually, what you do, similar to what Green Bay did with Devontae Adams, is you move your wide receiver 1 around and you try to create mismatches. And usually that mismatch is going to be found in the slot. So in the slot, you're trying to expose a nickel guy by bringing your wide receiver 1 in the slot. And if a team doesn't have the depth, right? If they don't have the depth at cornerback and they're forced to play their best cornerbacks on the outside and they can't move, they don't have the guy with the flexibility to move to the inside that can play in space. Because think about what cornerbacks do, right? In traditional settings on the outside, they use the sidelines in cover 3 as an extra defender. In cover 2, they use leverage to force guys back to the inside where they're going to have help, right? So they use the sidelines to help them out. You can't do that so much in the slot. In the slot, you have to use players as leverage and understand your positioning with other players and where they're going to be a little bit more. So you have to be a little bit smarter to play in the slot and use players and understand what other corners are going to be and know where you're going to have help in the slot if you're in zone coverage. Also, in the slot, Kyler has to be conscious and understand his gap fills in the run game, right? So in the slot, he's going to be responsible for filling one of those gaps in coming off the line of scrimmage, whether it's the A gap, B gap, C gap, right? Whether he's going to have contain on run plays or he's going to have a particular gap, a gap that would normally be the assignment of that Sam or Will linebacker. He has to know, all right, in the run game, this is my gap fill, but also in the pass game, this is how I respond. This is how I play with space, right? This is where my help is coming from, so on and so forth. So I think it's very telling that they trust Kyler with all that responsibility, so on, and they feel that they can handle it. And this is going to be very key to our success defensively, right? Because the Cooper Kupps of the world, players like that, they're going to line up in the slot, right? And they're going to try and eat. They're going to try and get the most of their yards out of those mismatches. So with guys like Kyler, and I love his attitude, man. I love the intensity. He's welcoming. Him and Brisker are welcoming all this extra stuff. They're welcoming the smoke, the responsibility that we're probably going to put on them as a staff. So you know what I'm saying? I just think it's exceptional that we're doing this. I think it's exceptional that we trust them this early in the process to be a part of that. And I'll let Swifty come in and we can talk about it some more. Welcome to the show, my boy Swifty, bro. Swifty, I'm back,
What
dog.
up? What up? What up? It's good to
I'm
see you,
back.
Coach. How
I'm
you doing,
back,
man?
man. Yeah,
How you
man.
doing, Coach?
I'm good, man. A little bit jet lag still, but I'm happy to be home, bro. I ain't even gonna lie. UK, London was great. Great taking the family, man. A lot of work, 10 and 12, 14 hours days, bro. Trying to turn this company around. But also, bro, I'm just glad to be back. And I miss so much Bears football, man. So I'm talking about Kyler. I'm talking about the DBs right now, but I want us to circle back to your takes on the wide receiver. And I definitely, bro, got to get your feel on this whole offensive line situation. And that, so go with the DBs. We're going to circle back to the wide receivers. We're going to hit Justin, and then we're going to go to O-line.
Gotcha. So with the DBs, I agree with everything you were saying about Kyler. I actually mentioned it when I did my initial breakdown on Kyler. I said this is a guy who, unlike Jalen Johnson, he has that quick twitch ability to match up with guys like Cooper Kupp in the slot. Now, Flus kind of turned it down in rookie mini camps. He kind of said opposite of what I said. He said, look, we're not trying to put too much on this guy's plate. He's just working on the outside today. And then right when we got to training camp, first thing Coach Flus says is, well, we had this plan all along. We just didn't want to overwhelm him. And he's running with it. So I was like, okay, exactly what I said. This is a guy who's going to play some slot. Some people are thinking the wrong about it, though. They see that and they're like, oh, Kyler Gordon got demoted. Why is he in the slot instead of outside? And I'm like, no. This is a guy who's going to, when you have two cornerbacks, it's going to be Jalen and Kyler. And then when they go three wide, if their best receiver is in the slot, Kyler is going to go down in the slot. And
Right.
Then Thomas Graham or Kendall Vildor or Tavon Young, somebody else will fill in on the outside.
Let's pause right there again. Swifty made a great point. Listen, this ain't 5-10 years ago, right? It ain't CB1, CB2. It's your ability to match up, to travel. Parking lot football, right? Think about Devontae Adams last year. Most of what Aaron Rodgers gets credit for is Devontae Adams just lining up in the slot, being matched up with your third string player off the bench, your first corner, the nickel, right? And him seeing him one-on-one and him just going to him. What Ryan Poles, Flu, and Alan Williams have decided, again, we want to beat people with scheme and system first. So they've accounted for everything and said, listen, you're not going to put your best wide receiver in the slot and then match him up against, what's one of the other corners' names? I'm drawing a blank. Just throw out a corner outside of our top two guys.
Oh, on our team, Greg Stroman, Tavon Young, Kendall Vildor, Thomas Graham.
Yeah, you're not gonna throw him out there. You're not gonna match your best wide receiver up with a Kendall or Vildor in the slot and he get to eat all day, right? Because they know you're limited in your ability. No, while we're complaining about us having no name brand guys, we actually have the guys that can match up with any system scheme. Okay, you need to cover a bigger tight end. Cruikshank comes in, right? We need to cover a slot. Okay, we're moving Kyler with his quick twitchy self to the slot. We're going to bring one of the other sides on the outside, and we're going to match up. We're going to play parking lot football, and we're going to think about everything that you can't beat us on. Go ahead, Swift. I don't want to.
Oh, no, I would just my cat jumped up behind me, distracted me, and then I was just responding to Nomad's comment. He said, look at the comment I just made. It's important. He was talking about when they move Kyler to the slot, they can disguise what the defense is doing, disguise the coverage. His agility will be able to give the defense a look pre-snap and take it away post-snap, and he's what you'd like to call a joker. And I was just telling Nomad, like, yeah, man, great point, man, dead on, exactly.
Damn great point. And also, so if you think about it conversely of what we talked about, how we use wide receiver ones, right? You play 3-card money with our wide receiver one. whoever that's going to be. Hopefully, Velus Jones Jr. The opposite is true for Kyler Gordon, right? He's on the inside. He's on the outside. You give people to think about. Last year, you know what I'm saying, we tried to travel with Jalen, but, you know, it seemed like Jalen got lost in the sauce plenty of times, right? Particularly like late versus Green Bay, you know, trying to do too much at certain times. And then also Jalen is not as twitchy
That's it right there. Yeah.
Tyler, right? He's not as twitchy. And then the added responsibility again, because you don't just get to play DB in the slot. Remember, you're replacing a linebacker out of that base defense. You still have to come in and hit your run fits. You have to have an attitude. You got to be a dog because, okay, so part of the strategic move for offensive play callers is, guess what? I'm gonna give you a spread formation, 3 wide receivers to force you to bring a DB on the field, right? And I'm gonna run the ball. So I'm gonna take a linebacker out of game and run the ball on you because I believe your DBs don't want to be that dude, right? Nah, we got dudes, we got a safety, we got a corner in there. They like, hey, I love it. Bring it. Bring it. You run the ball on me if I'm in the slot, and I'm gonna come downhill, whether it's on the blitz or whether it's me just playing my gap field, and I'm gonna lay the wood on you. Now,
that's another thing that people don't understand is in this defense specifically, that slot corner has a lot more responsibilities. They will blitz off the edge a lot. They are responsible in the run game to help out a lot. So it's something that in this defense, you need someone that's going to be really solid in the slot. The Bears always had a slot guy back in the day. If you guys remember when we had like Ricky Manning Jr., we had Nathan Vasher in the slot. There was quite a few guys we put out there. Jerry Azuma. Everybody remembers Jerry Azuma. But this is a defense. They had Kenny Moore in Indy. And Kenny Moore, in my opinion, was the best player on that secondary. And they had him at nickelback. So when Flus puts Kyler Gordon in nickelback, it's a sign that they trust him already.
Right.
And people try to hate on Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson's still a stud cornerback. He just has a different skill set. You know? Yeah. He's if you're going against two, you got to think teams multiple weapons.
At the same time.
Say it again.
I said whatever that saying is, Jinx, whatever, you owe me a quote. We said at the same time.
Yeah. But think about a team like the Bengals, you know. They don't just have one weapon, you know. They got Jamar Chase and they got T. Higgins. If you're going against a team like that, this is where you'd put Kyler Gordon on Jamar Chase. You put Jalen Johnson on T. Higgins because he's bigger. He's more physical. He can face those bigger receivers. And there's a lot of those guys in the NFL. Whereas now Kyler Gordon, he can match up against those guys a little bit as well. But he can also come down into the slot. And he can do a lot of different things on our secondary.
Swift, great point. Question for you. Are you concerned with the number of times we've seen our wide receivers basically leaving these cats in the dust so far in camp?
Nah, most of the guys that got left in the dust, that like the one Velus smoked, that was Greg Stroman Jr., and he's probably not going to make the team, but he is fast. One of the things that people didn't understand, people saw that video and nobody knew who the corner was. I was like, oh, that's Greg Stroman. But they're like, oh, some guy is just going to get cut. Well, Greg Stroman has 4.4 speed, so he's not slow. 4.4. Velus burnt him. Yeah. But the one on Kyler on the sideline, did you see the one on Kyler? Kyler's all over him, right?
Yeah.
And then in the final yard, Velus gets just enough separation with that last second of burst. And Kyler's a guy with 9.9 RAS score, like one of the most elite athletes in the whole draft. And you can accelerate away from Kyler. And that just shows me that Velus is special. And people are sleeping on him. I think other than that, Kyler's been making plays all through camp. Brisker's made a ton of plays. Eddie Jackson's been hit or miss. Jalen Johnson, I'm not worried about. So I think our secondary is going to be good.
Like I say, I like to temper the hyperbole, right? I like to temper the excitement, right? But from a strategic, again, everybody can say what they want to about the names and all this other stuff. But when I think about this as a coach from a strategic perspective, like when I look down and say, all right, here's my players, here's my playbook. What can and can't I do? right? There is nothing coming out of this first week of camp. There is nothing. I say nothing outside of understanding what we can protect, right? That's the question next week. But as far as, man on man in shorts and t-shirts, so far, I bet Luke's looking at his playbook. He's looking at his call sheets. He's looking at the system he wants to run and saying, there's nothing I can't do that I want to do. Now, the caveat, the X factor in that is, can protection hold up? And we're going to get into that a little bit, right? So,
And then the other point, real quick, a point I want to make is one of the things people don't understand is they're always caught up on those terms, the wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. And that's what we've had for the most part over the last 10 years. Like back when we had Alshon Jeffrey and Brandon Marshall. And then even last year we had A-Rob and Mooney. And those two guys are almost always on the field, right?
right.
And other than that, it was just guys sprinkled in. I think every formation, it's possible you're going to see different guys out there, especially if we go at least 6 deep on wide receiver and you keep guys like if N'Keal Harry, Velus Jones, Byron Pringle, and ESB make the roster, then you're going to have, there's going to be times when it's going to be Pringle and Mooney, and then there's going to be times when Pringle sets down and Velus comes in and ESB comes in, and then ESB goes down, Harry comes out, Pringle comes in. Like they're going to be moving guys all around. I think they're going to split Kmet out wide, and based on what I've seen from Treston Ebner, I think you could see him out there on passing downs too. So I think what they're trying to do is not put it all into one weapon. They're trying to spread the field around, use guys to their strengths, and allow Justin Fields to put these guys in positions to make plays. And I'm excited for it.
Great segue. Talk to me about Justin and what you're seeing from him.
Oh my goodness, man. The ball placement, I've never seen balls placed like that my entire life as a Bears fan. Like the deep ball, how pretty it is. Like even the one he hit Velus Jones on when he burnt that guy, he kind of underthrew Velus a little bit. And that's something that's easily, like he works with some fast guys. Like he's worked with Jameson Williams and Darnell Mooney and Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson and, guys in Georgia too, George Pickens and all them. Like he's been everywhere. And he underthrew Velus a little bit. And I want to say, like, when I watched Velus run by that guy, that speed was unreal. But Justin's been impressive. Like, obviously, he's stepping up as a leader. He's staying after practice. He's working hard, and he's lighting up practices. He's making a couple bad plays, but like all stars do, all good quarterbacks throw interceptions in training camp. It's what they do. Tom Brady's been doing it since he was a rookie. Peyton Manning, all of them. You're not perfect. Training camp is to work on your timing and get better. Never overreact if a guy throws a couple picks in practice. Like that's supposed to happen. But when he's out there lighting people up and he's ending the sessions, that's one of the things. When he ended the session the other day, 10 straight completions and 3 touchdowns to end it. Those are the kind of days that as Bears fans, we haven't seen in 20 to 30 years. Like even when Rex would get hot, like they never owned that defense in training camp. Like that defense would kill Rex all day and he would come out and they would make him better though. But I've never seen a quarterback that's able to make throws all over the field like Justin can. And then that's just the arm. So we're just talking about his arm, and it's already more special than any quarterback I've ever seen. As far as a Bears quarterback, I'm not comparing him in the whole NFL,
Right.
But then also you got his head, how smart he is. Like the guy scored the highest Wonderlic score ever for a quarterback.
Right.
Ever. And then his legs, 4.3 speed. He's clearly making plays out there and has obviously our line is the biggest question, but so far Justin Fields is sensational. I couldn't be more impressed, and I can't wait to see this kid get better.
Absolutely, Swift. We're going to shift gears. I'll say something to add to that. I mentioned this earlier. I said it in my breakdown about Justin, bro. The only thing I'm asking for him to do is funny. So I messaged Herb yesterday, tried to sneak a question in to his priorities of questions. And I said, hey, I don't know if you can slide this in, but I want to know about, has he been practicing his cadence I believe he has based off what we're seeing. We got guys jumping off sides. That means we're not going on one every play, right? So, but his ability to use his cadence to reveal blitzes is something that I mentioned to Quincy Avery in the chat. I DM Quincy Avery. I say, hey, when you're working out with him, do you guys work on, switching up the cadence? Like, you can't come out and practice, say it go every time, right? You got to go say it go. Like, get the discipline built into them now, right? But real quick, we're going to slide real fast. I know my mouse is acting up, so if I'm pointing at the screen, that's because I'm moving things around. We'll just deal with it. But watch this. We're going to do this quick segment. I'm going to hit some comment sections, and we're going to get into it. So let me move this.
It goes down in the DM. It go down in the DM.
All right. I'm trying not to get banned or shadow banned by YouTube, so that's that real fast. Let's move me and my guy Swifty back up on the board. Actually, let me go with a different one so we can actually see the actual question come up. Mouse acting up. All right, cool. I want to address this comment right here by your favorite guy, Don Bird. All right, sister. This is going to be quick and easy for me, right? Honestly, rank the NFC wide receivers room 1 through 4, right? It's easy. It's an easy one for me, right? I'm going to answer and rebut a statement with a statement. Don, the way you're thinking about this traditionally, you may be right. But what I want you to think of, right, and you may not have this is no insult, but you may
Packers?
not have hold on a second. You may not have the skill set to do this. But I don't think about it the way you're thinking about it. You're probably thinking about it, name brands, blah, blah, blah. But strategically, and your ability to expose a defense, you go back and rank them. Does the Vikings have 2 speedsters on the outside that they can force defenses into too high safety? That's the question.
Vikings are good. Yeah, Vikings are number 1. That's no question. They got Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. Like, they're number 1. But the rest of the rankings, that's when neither of those other 3 teams have anything special. The Packers wide receiver group right now is Allen Lazard, right? Never been more than a number 3 in his life. You can compare him to Byron Pringle. And then Christian Watson, a rookie who played against low competition in college. And then Romeo Doubs, who was like a 5th, 6th round pick guy. And then Sammy Watkins, who's already on the pup and hasn't played 16 games since I was probably 12 years old, That's their whole wide receiver core. There's no way you're ranking those guys better than the Bears. Like,
let's take a step back and even go back to the Vikings, right? Again, you mentioned Jefferson and Thielen, right?
Jefferson's like top 5 in the NFL. There's no way I'll put us above the Vikings, but the Packers and the Lions, like.
But I have a simple question. Do even those guys force defenses into too high safety? If you put Jefferson on the outside and put Thielen on the outside, do you force me to play too high safety?
Thielen can beat single coverage. I mean, he used to be able to. I haven't seen it. I didn't see him do it much last year. He was injured a lot, but he's not a burner like that. But he's a top 15 wide receiver. And then Justin Jefferson is, to me, one of the best young receivers in the NFL. He's comparable to like Jamar Chase. He's a guy that you have to double cover. Like, you can't single cover Justin Jefferson.
So I answer my own question. I'm not scared of them. You're not forcing me. You're not forcing me as a defensive coordinator to stay in the single high coverage. That means we can come in the game and decide we want to play single high coverage if they start running the ball on us, which that's a great part of their system over there, right? If you start beating our front 7 up, I can be like, all right, I'm going to move a man down in the box, and I can roll my single safety over to Jefferson's side and say, you know what? Whoever's on the backside versus Thielen, you got him. Right? Do your job. We can go with some kind of combo coverage. Do your job. I'm talking about the strategic part of it. You're not forcing me to do anything with those guys. Now, if that's your top group in Minnesota, I definitely ain't worried about nobody else. So, you know what I'm saying? Again, it's bigger than names. It's about what you can do on the field strategically, right? And how do you force defenses to do things they're not good at, or compromise the scheme, compromise the system? If you can't force me to play too high safety, I ain't worried because it's a numbers game at that point, right? Now, if I roll a safety over top of Jefferson and Thielen beats me, then I'm talking to that cornerback. I'm talking to whoever, probably Jalen Johnson is going to be versus Thielen, and I'm saying, you need to get your act together, buddy. Or you know what I'm saying? You're going to be on the first thing smoking out of here. That's how, again, that's how I'm approaching all this. I'm not finna sit here on the show and be like, oh, I'm scared of these guys because they got names. If I break it down to the X's and O's and you can't force me to manipulate my numbers, we ain't talking about nothing.
And basically the only difference is, I mean, the Vikings have established guys. They have two guys that are good wide receivers, whereas no one else in the division does. The Lions, Packers, and Bears, we're all projecting. They all got a rookie and some free agents who have never played. They all got different wide receiver groups. And the weird thing about Don projecting the Lions so high is their number one wide receiver, the guy on their team who has the highest ceiling, would be Jamison Williams, their first round pick this year. Yeah, who not only is he a rookie, but he tore his ACL less than 6 months ago. He's might not even play this year. So, and to put him over a guy like Darnell Mooney already, like it's a projection. Like you're projecting, and it's just the Lions don't have it yet, and they also don't have a quarterback. This is the biggest piece of the puzzle, though. Having a guy who can get downfield is good, but do you have a quarterback that could take advantage of that speed? No, they don't. We do. Like I think Velus Jones will. I would bet Don money right now. Don, write it down. Velus Jones has more yards and touchdowns this season than Jamison Williams. By the way, so does Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet. Like, they're all better than your number one this year.
Agent Mo said 100% healthy Thielen can defeat single coverage. Mm-hmm. Not really speed, though, but it's quick twitchy. I said those are contradicting statements to me, and no disrespect, but those contradicting statements to me, right? So, again,
think about it like this, Coach. It's not – he can beat you deep, but it's not always the deep speed. The way Thielen does it is he's going to sell you on a route that he's going inside, get the corner to bite, and then cut it and beat him deep. Even though he only runs a 4.5, 4.6, he can still get behind corners because he has such good footwork, and he's a technician, and that's what Thielen is. So he can get open.
I'll give you that, and I'll raise you this. And this is the part that we don't know and we have to get into. I'll give you this, I'll give you that, and I'll raise you the fact that those double moves take time, bro. And wide receivers are racing against the defensive line, not the cornerback. You know what I'm saying? If my guy's getting there, bro, your quarterback is on his back. You can fake an inside slant, blah blah blah. That's why I don't like double moves. That's why I don't like that little wheel route they run in the red zone where you go inside and then you curl back. I forgot what they call that route. It takes time. It's developing, and if, like I said, I'm taking it. If he can't flat out, listen to me. Our guys can flat out off the line of scrimmage without a double move burn you. Period. Nobody will debate that. And if you do, you homering it, right? Our guys can straight up say, listen, set, go, give you a move with their size and speed and straight cook you. That's what I'm talking about. So I hear what everybody's saying, but we're factoring in it all, right? That's it. So I got a couple comments. Let me see if I can tag another one. Let me try and get one more. I hate the fact I'm having to do this with my finger and on my mouth, but adapt and overcome, right?
Fat finger in it.
Fat finger in it. Yep, my fingers are definitely fat. Let's see. I wanna get a good one. Let me see how old is Stealing. I don't like dead time. Most of this is about. Let's get into this, man, because
Don named their slot receiver as their number one wide receiver.
Let's get into this. This is shifting the gears away from the wide receiver, but let's talk about this. This is a good segue back into the O-line because I definitely want to hear and I know where we're going with this, but hey, somebody said, Vernell said, are you concerned about the uncertain status of Tevin Jenkins, blah, blah, blah. Listen, I'm gonna do y'all a solid one on this one because everybody knows that I'm emotionally connected to the Tevin Jenkins, man. Like I will admit my blind spot when it comes to Tevins, right? I recognize his talent on film. I recognize the nature and from the source which this character issue story is coming from. I hear all that, and I've stated my position on it. I believe this guy is immensely talented. However, there is a reason, and I don't know what that reason is, why he's running with the tools and now hasn't practiced all week. I'm going to let Swifty chime in on this one.
So there's a lot of rumors going around out there. If you guys hadn't seen it yet, Cap tweeted this morning and said something on his YouTube show. David Kaplan, Coach might have mentioned it
Quit the
earlier.
cap. I'm going to start a segment called Quit the Cap.
Quit the cap. You know, he basically said there's a bit large disconnect between the Bears front office and Tevin Jenkins. And he said that disconnect comes in due to Tevin Jenkins' immaturity. And Twitter and everybody seems to be running with this morning. Everybody is just, they bought into it. Like Cap said it, and everybody just believes it like it's gospel. And my only thing that I want to bring up to that is Cap didn't get anything right this offseason. He didn't get our head coaching hire right. He didn't get our GM hire right. He didn't get any of our free agent moves right. He was talking about Terran Armstead and all these guys. He didn't get the draft right. He said we were going wide receiver in the second round. Like nothing Cap has said all offseason is right. So I don't know why when he comes out and says something like this and people just accept it as a fact. I think it's very possible. It could be a number of things going on with Tevin Jenkins. He could have COVID. There's no COVID list anymore. Last year at this time, players would be put on the COVID list. This year, COVID is still a thing, but the NFL doesn't have a COVID list. Right. So before the season starts, and Coach Flus kind of hinted at this, they're not going to give things away that they don't need to. And he said if it was a major injury, he'd let us know.
Right.
And that's why he let us know about Dakota Dozier and Lucas Patrick. Right. But he said the thing going on with Tevin is he's working with the trainer. Now, he could be working with the trainer one-on-one in isolation because he's in COVID. He could be working with the trainer, because he injured something slightly, and they're just trying to recover from that. It's also possible. I mean, what Cap said could be true. I'm not saying it's not true. Maybe he is immature, and maybe the coaches do have a problem with him. But to me, that is not a reason why he'd be working with the trainer. So maybe he has a small injury and they have an attitude adjustment. Somebody DM'd me this morning and said the reason why they think what Cap said could have been true is because, like what they did with Jalen Johnson. They put him in the second team when he first got here. And they're like, what if they did that to Tevin Jenkins in rookie mini camps? They put him in that second team. And what if Tevin didn't like it? Like,
didn't respond well.
It's a chance. Like, I'm not saying it's impossible. Like, he was a high draft pick and was supposed to be a first round pick last year. And when we drafted him, they basically said, yo, you're our left tackle of the future. Right. And he wanted to play right side. And he said in the interview, like, he's happy going back to the right side. But then he gets demoted to the second team. It is rookie mini camps and it's not a big deal. But there is a possibility. Maybe Tev didn't like it. But that same report, he's also saying that Tev is the most talented lineman on our team. Yes. So I'm not going to believe what Cap says. If the coaches come out or if Tev doesn't make the roster or somehow gets put on IR or they start talking about trading him or we get further into camp and we still haven't heard from Tev, then maybe let's think about it. But right now it's just, I don't believe Cap. Like, I think it's COVID or an injury situation. I'm hoping we find out more when we come back to practice tomorrow.
Yeah, the Cap situation makes cause for concern, right? So Cap is known for quoting sources. He's known for capping. He's known for quoting sources that's not connected to the NFL. That's why I said we may have to start a drunk auntie segment to the show because I believe this is where our drunk uncles get their tapes or their sources from. They're connected to the drunk aunties. The drunk aunties and the drunk uncles are talking and they're coming up with a take. So That part of it concerns me. Now, the other part, that's that. And then the other part is now when I go to couple that with our boy Herb's comment earlier in the week, which I ain't gonna lie, I'm overseas, I'm sleep deprived, I'm going to 12 to 14-hour meetings, and I took the bait on. So guess what I'm gonna do? Guess what I'm doing? I'm gonna slide this in there. I'm gonna go ahead and give myself where is it? I can't even bring it up. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give myself the Drunk Uncle of the Week award for taking the bait on that one. And I very well could still be right. You know what I'm saying? And listening to her, but I give myself a whole award this week for that. No problem. No problem. But my other part to that is Herb went so far as to say that Tevin might be cut. He might not even make the roster. I'm not saying I believe it, but if I start putting together, outside of it being cap, if I start putting together the context clues, I'm gonna address it on the show. And so I ain't gonna lie, I'm concerned. I don't know what it is, but I'm definitely concerned. Now, that's for Tevin. I'm concerned for Tevin. In the macro, I'm not concerned when it comes to this. Well, I can't even say that. I'll be lying because my Coach T segment is finished. I'm concerned about the offensive line, period. Again. Okay. Now, and I'm gonna tell you why here in a second, but respond to that, and then I already gave myself the Drunk Uncle Award. But
I know, and Coach, and I knew you were in England, and that's why when Herb saw it, I actually saw it the night before. I read his article that was on the Bigs. I've been trying to support Herb. I think Herb is doing a lot of great things out there. I disagreed 100% when I read the end of his article. Some of the things he said about Mustafa, and then what he said about Tevin Jenkins, and I was just like, but I didn't comment on it, right? And I went to bed. And I woke up the next morning, and that's when Coach T had tagged me, and he heard that what Herb said, and that's when I just had to say it. Like, I'm sorry, Herb, but I don't agree with you. There's a lot that comes into making the roster, and right. There's a lot of things that could go into it. I think obviously there's a chance he can go to the injured reserve or something like that, or the PUP list. As far as just getting cut, if that happens, then you can probably go to the bank that what Cap said is true. If Tevin Jenkins gets cut, there has to be something going on here because he's a second-round pick. Yes, they didn't draft him, but this is only his second year. He's like 23 years old and has more potential than any other player on our offensive line. You don't cut a guy like that unless you don't see any chance of fixing him. And to me, I don't see any way that's going to happen. Like, I a small chance, but from the interviews and things I've seen from Tev, yeah, he is a lighthearted guy. He likes to joke. Mm-hmm. He's also serious when he's on the football field, and he did one of the things last year everybody forgets. He was the guy when all the other offensive line were standing around while Fields was getting beat up. He was the guy who stood up for his offensive lineman. Or for a quarterback, and Poles actually mentioned that when he was hired. Like, that's the kind of stuff I love to see. Yeah. Andy has all that talent. I don't see Tevin Jenkins getting cut. If he has a back injury or something, I could see him possibly going to the PUP. But I see that guy is on the roster and eventually a starting offensive tackle in the NFL for a long time.
And let's face it, man. You have to be a little bit not in touch with some things, man, to play offensive line, period, right? You want that. I've said this all the time about coaching football. Is one of the things that was wrong with the University of Georgia football for a long time. They just got these choir boys who were just perfect personalities that came from good homes and all this other stuff. I'm sorry, bro. You need to go down to the South Side, you need to go down to Broward County, Miami, and get a couple dudes that's on the cusp of making a blotter to formulate a good football team. You need a couple of those guys that will take it there when need be to make it a good football team. So, and then the other part of that is it's going to be a good segue into Coach T's playbook. But before we go to that, I have a question for you, right? So give me going into next week, because we put the pads on tomorrow. Get me who we should see out there. Some of your surprises maybe on the offensive line. Let's volley that one back and forth for a little bit. What's the lineup you have right now, Swift?
I think clearly Riley Reef is locking in that left tackle job. I've heard some people say he's more of a right tackle. That's just wrong. The dude's played left tackle over 100 career starts in his career. He's only played right tackle for 2 years, and one of them was last year in Cincinnati. But he's going to lock up that job. I think he's solid and dependable. I think Cody Whitehair is going to be the left guard. Center spot is where right now with Lucas Patrick out until he comes back. This is where it causes some questions. Right now it's Kramer and Mustafa rotating. I was pretty big on Kramer. I did seeing him with the other four offensive line this week. He looked small, like noticeably smaller than the other four guys when he was out there.
Mind you, Swifty's there. Swifty's at camp.
So there's one guy. I don't know. Like I've never been a fan of Mustafa, right? But I think it's possible. If Kramer's not ready, it's between him and Kramer, and I think Kramer has a lot of potential, but he looked small out there to me. Obviously, a lot of it's going to see that first preseason game that's coming up next week. I'm going to watch the center position probably the most and see what happens there, because I think the third guy in is going to be Dieter Iceland. He's a fan favorite. A lot of fans out there love Dieter, and he started taking snaps after Patrick went down, so there's a chance that maybe he can look really good. But then at right guard, I think right now it's just a dead-on battle with Jatari Carter and Michael Schofield. And I think Schofield's a solid, dependable guy. I think he's like a better Dakota Dozier. Not as he's between Dakota Dozier and right up there with Cody Whitehair, you know. Like he's a solid guard. He could be good. But if Carter impresses and wins that job, Schofield will probably get cut. He's either going to be the day one starter at right guard, or he won't make the roster. If Carter or Thomas pass him up, he'll get cut. And then at right tackle, as far as right now, Larry Borum it looks like he's getting a lock on that thing with Jenkins not being out there. Now, obviously, the biggest changes are going to happen with pads on and in preseason games. So Jenkins hasn't missed much so far. That's why I'm not overreacting. If he comes back, there's a chance Jenkins is on the field tomorrow with pads on and looking better than Borum. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But Borum's the right tackle right now.
Don't get me excited, Swift. Don't get me excited.
Schofield at center. I've never seen Schofield take snaps.
No, he got Musty at center.
Oh, Musty at center. Yeah, okay. I was reading it backwards. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's pretty much right what I call it. Yeah, right there.
So I'll say this,
Schofield and Carter at right guard.
So I'll say this, right? If Kramer beats out Musty, that's an indictment, right? Because of all the calls that the center has to make, right? You got to keep in mind, bro, it's just not snapping the ball. Swifty knows this, but I'm saying this for the audience. It's just not swapping the ball. You got to come up to the line of scrimmage, count bodies, right? And make sure you're sliding protections and pass plays to the numbers, right? You have to make a call, rain, lightning, right? Move people to the right side to the numbers and slide protection so you can go 3x2, right? You also have to call out the mic so they'll know who's the block in that call in the 3x2, right? So you know who to let run free, right? And you'll know who to pick up, right? The person that they don't pick up, who's not the mic, in some cases, Justin will know this guy's a free runner. I have to get rid of the ball. I do not want to put that responsibility on a rookie. So if Musty gets beat out by Kramer, it's an indictment on Musty. And in my opinion, at that point, he needs to go home.
Yeah, he'll be cut. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why they're also getting Dieter snaps is they're possibly anticipating, because Mustafa he was kind of a holdover as a starter last year, and they were like, you could tell Poles wasn't completely sold on him because the first move we made was bringing in a center,
right?
And Patrick was a guard and center, and they were pretty firm. They're like, Patrick's going to play center. We want an experienced guy calling the snapping the ball and running the line for Justin Fields. So with him out, that puts a question here. If Mustafa can't step up and at least be a good fill-in backup center, then he's probably not making the team.
See ya. I'll go keep going to the right of offensive line. I think it's very special that Carter is even being mentioned in the battle. The fact that
Oh,
he's the fact that he's in the mix, and I spoke ad nauseum about his potential based off of what I saw on film and breaking him down. I really believe in the kid. I think it's an issue of self confidence, him having reps, and just him believing in himself. Right. The fact that, and if you're hearing this, Jatari, I don't know how much time you got. You just don't happen to hear this. Listen, kid, believe in yourself. F everything else. Block out the distraction, block out the noise, and just focus, believe in yourself. Forget where you come from, forget your background, all that stuff. Compete, go 100 miles per hour, everything, and I guarantee you're going to come out on top, right? I don't have a preference. I just want the best guy. I like what I've seen in Schofield in the one-on-one reps they had. Again, we're going to know the truth starting tomorrow. The pads come on, and this barbecue, as one coach used to tell me when I played, it's either barbecue, mildew, or doo-doo. You're going to fall in one of those three categories, and we're going to know. The surprise for me, Swifty, at right tackle is the fact that I'm not hearing about Braxton Jones being more in the mix. And by the way, I'll comment more on Braxton Jones in a second, but I'll say this. Listen, because I had his mom like the comment under my comment section of somebody saying, you know what I'm saying, I need to jump on the Larry Bourne train. So Mama Bear 75, if you watching the show, it's no disrespect. I'm not just your average Bears DIYer, bro. Swifty attest to this. Anybody that follow over my 2,000 subscribers will attest to this. I don't make opinions without going to the film and breaking people down. And I break them down to the details, the nuances. Y'all know how I evaluate offensive linemen. Feet, hips, hands. That's how offensive linemen are evaluated. Agility, right? That's how they evaluate it. Fearlessness and tenacity. That's how they evaluate it. And if you look at the film from last year, Borum didn't play like that, and he played heavier. I will give him credit. He looks a lot lighter. He looks a lot nimble. He also looks a lot more confident and sure of himself of what I'm seeing in the footage that I've seen. So if he's gotten better, by all means, man, shout out to Larry Bourne. You stepped up, you won the job, and if you carry that through camp and win the job, I'm going to do the same thing. Either way, I'm going to go through the season. I'm going to break down the film on all 5 offensive linemen, and I'm going to give you your props. It's a testament to your character if you win it. So shout out to Larry if he's doing the job, bro. I would be happy to jump on the claim if, like I tagged her in the post after I saw she responded to it, right? She liked it because I don't do passive aggressive. Put it on the film. You know what I'm saying? If you put it on film, bro, I'm on your team. Listen, I'm a Bears fan. I want my team to be good. So there you have it. I said that before I say this. I'm still shocked that we're not hearing more about Braxton, even though I see him getting his reps. And he still could emerge coming this week when they put them pads on and get after it. So that's
I
my
think it's one of those things. The coaches like him on the left side. It's one where I think the last regime was too. Some guys are really comfortable moving from left to right. I think a lot of times it's each guy. Like some guys can do it and play anywhere on the line, and it doesn't matter. Like they've done it since high school. They've played all over the line. Some guys have played, like Braxton Jones, 4 years of left tackle in high school, 4 years of left tackle in college, and those are guys where they're clearly more comfortable on that side. And I think what the Bears are doing are trying to groom him to be the left tackle of the future.
right.
And they also want him working. One of the reasons they brought in Riley Reef, I think, other than stabilizing the position for this year, because you said it yourself, no matter how good Braxton Jones is, you probably don't want a rookie on the blind side, right?
Nah.
But if you can let that rookie learn from a guy who's been doing it for 15 years, who was a former first-round pick, and he can be right behind that guy every day in practice, watching him and learning from him, and in his hip, asking him questions. And then on the right side, you let Borum and Jenkins battle it out. And
Right.
I think that's more what the coaches are doing, because that's why they were moving everybody around in mini camps. They were like, let's see what this guy does at left tackle. Let's see how he looks at right. And then once they got the film room, I think what they saw was, hey, Braxton Jones, we like him better on the left side.
Yeah.
Borum,
You made
they liked on both, but I think they liked him better on the right side.
you made a great point about something I made earlier. I was adamant about earlier, and I've overlooked it, right? In the silent of Reef, right? I don't want a rookie on the backside, and right now we don't have. So I'm super happy about that, right? Regardless of who we have, I said right, but I meant left. Regardless of who we have at right, now Justin has visual. He has visual in his peripherals as he's dropping back. He has eye on the right tackle position, and he can use his speed and quickness to get out of the hole if that right tackle gets beat, right? Concerned about them coming up the middle again at the center position, and I feel like whoever wins that right guard position is going to be in there. So right now, center is really it for me. And how long is it going to take Patrick, not Fitzpatrick, by the way, but Patrick, to get back? Coach T keeps putting Fitzpatrick on there. But yeah, I'm concerned about the center position. I think we're gonna have answers at right and right guard to start the season. That's that. Now, what I want to segue into next is Coach T's playbook, but I want to stay focused on the offensive line because I've seen some stuff that concerns me from a coaching perspective. So I'm gonna talk about that. Let's do this. Boom, y'all know what it is. It's Coach T's playbook. I always get into the X's and O's, but I'm finna dive into deep, man, about some coaching concerns I've seen over the last week and film footage I'm seeing from camp, bro. Listen, man, and it may play into the whole Tevin Jenkins issue or not, but Chris Morgan and these drills that I'm seeing, bro, I'm sorry. I coached the position, and them highlighting some of these drills with the dude swinging the bag over his head, or this tossing ball drill that they did where they tossed a heavy ball at the offensive lineman as they shuffled, and the expectation. So again, I coached the position. So you're trying to teach hand placement and explosiveness with your push and the dexterity, both your hands and your feet working in unison as you move from left to right in either your power step or your kick step as an offensive lineman. Power step is stepping inside down. Kick step is stepping out. For those of you who don't know that, don't want to insult anybody's intelligence. Watch this. So the question I asked on Twitter when somebody came back at me or rebutted that says they coach ball too, Pop Warner, said I use the drill too. But I said, is that the most effective drill for teaching that? I said, pull out the 5-man sled, right? Pull out the 5-man sled. This is the way I teach it. And you go down the 5-man sled. You punch. You go down the first time. You punch with both hands and you keep sliding. And you connect your feet with your hands. You keep your feet connected to the ground as you're punching to generate power. So the first time you go through with both hands, and the second time you have to use your peripherals and you go right, you go outside, middle, and left as you're doing it. It takes a lot of coordination, right? Usually people don't struggle with the first one, right? Punch, slide. That's easy. But when you got to go 1, 2, 3, and you're basically practicing punching, but you're also practicing passing people off at the same time, right? And I know this as a high school football coach, but I'm seeing professionals practice this way. Now, again, context is important. I don't see every drill they do, but I do know this. You have a limited amount of time in individuals. Indies is what we call it. You have a limited amount of time in indies to practice certain drills. And the 2 drills I saw from Chris Morgan concern me. Now, again, he has the platform. He's the stage. He's coaching for the Bears. I'm sitting here talking to y'all on YouTube. So let's call that out, right? I do what I do in corporate. He's making his money, probably doing what I prefer to be doing for a living. But I don't know, man. That concerns me. That just that's scary. That's scary to me. But anyway, I just wasn't very impressed with the drills I saw, the drill work that I saw. Swifty was out there. I don't know how much time he spent watching offensive line, but I just wanted to call that out. And I'm going to tell you this, man. As a player, as a former player and the coach of the game, when you out doing goofy stuff as a coach, the players lose respect for you. right? There's some guys that have the maturity to say, hey, you know what I'm saying? I'm just going to run it. I'm going to do the drills that coach is having us do. And I'm just going to do what I'm asked to do and do my job. And I'm not going to give any pushback or nothing like that. But there are also are guys that's going to be like, they're going to call you out. And they're going to be like, listen, coach, this is stupid. What are we really picking up from this? What are we supposed to be learning? This is not going to help me become a better player. What's the deal? And if you have that, and you have a real honest player, mind you, we don't have any seasoned vets on this team. And sometimes leadership can be mistaken for mutiny, right? Sometimes leadership can be mistaken for mutiny. I'm saying, I'm not trying to give him a cop-out or an excuse, but I'm saying maybe Tevin is like, bro, what are we doing? Maybe Tevin is, I'm looking at these drills and I'm asking, what are we doing? Maybe Tevin is like, bro, what are we doing? And if you're evaluating me, think about this now, guys. If they're being placed on this, if you're a starting caliber player and they're not hitting yet, and you're evaluating me based on my ability to do these dumb drills, I have a problem too. I'm just keeping it a buck. I have a problem too. You're saying my ability to take off of the line of scrimmage and swoop under a coach, an assistant coach, what's the purpose of swinging the bag over to stay low? I don't know.
I mean, Robert Quinn he said something about it when he was at that press conference. The one question they asked him that wasn't about trades and stuff, when they asked him why he missed minicamp, he was like, I'm just working on my body, you know? And one of the guys, it might have been Herb, was like, so basically you just think minicamp kind of like a waste of time. I don't think it was Herb. It was somebody. But he was just like, yeah, basically. Like, so basically he was saying to himself, as a guy who's been in the NFL 12 years, he has better ways of taking care of his own body and preparing himself for the season than the drills the coaches have him doing in May and April.
Yeah, I mean, bro, listen to me. And I'm not trying to be a jerk or nothing like that. There are so many better ways. There are so many ways I could think of better to work on punch power, punch explosiveness, and hand feet dexterity, connecting your feet with your hands, making sure your feet are cemented in the ground when you go to punch. There's so many better ways to do that. I just don't understand. And if I go into next week and I see that crap again, bro, I'm gonna be on Chris Morgan's keister all season because, again, this is my part of this thing, man. I pride myself on. I mean, I don't carry Coach T for just nothing like that. That concerns me. It's a problem. It's a problem. So, and again, if I'm Tevin and I consider myself a leader, and then also we're talking about tangible results, right? I'm expected to produce results, and my ability to feed my family and take care of myself is on the line when you're asking me to take a test, right? Do a drill or take a test that has nothing to do with the job I'm applying for, right? Now, to your point, Swifty, if I'm Tevin, I'm like, yeah, we got problems all week. If that's true, I have problems with you all week. But I'm like, okay, bro, what day we putting the pass on? No problem. This is what I'm waiting to get to. So line your best guy up, Quinn, whoever, right? Line us up. We're gonna do these 101s, and I'm finna eat they behinds alive. I'm finna gobble dudes up like Pac-Man. I'm finna neck choke slam people, and I'm finna embarrass people just to show you, coach, that you don't know what you're talking about, right? And we probably need to find a guy to replace you. I'm just saying, Swift. It's a concern of mine, right?
No, yeah, I feel you.
The next thing I'm gonna hit on is, and I'm probably gonna get ragged for this one, but I'm sorry. All my coach friends out there, anybody coach the game, and I'm tapping into some people too. Will from Three Kings sent me a video clip of Coach Eberflus in Indy teaching the 4-3 base defense, a 4-3 nickel scheme, right? 4-3 base, the Sam, Mike, and Will linebacker. Eberflus has the Will linebacker to the strength of the offensive formation and the Sam to the weak side. Now, I thought about that for 3 days because it bothered me. And I'm like, bro, that doesn't make sense, football terms. Will usually goes to the weak side of the offensive football. He's the more quicker, agile person. He plays over the one technique. The Sam usually plays to the strength side over the 3 technique. Because in a power scheme, guess who they're going to send at you first as through your defense on the run plays? They're going to send that fullback as a lead blocker. You want your bigger, more stout guy there to act as a battering ram and slap that fullback in his mouth if he comes through that hole first and leads up as a lead blocker for the running back. And then you want your smaller guy on the backside for any cutbacks and stuff like that. So I'm going to say that concerns me because traditionally in football, the Sam is strong side, weak side, Will is weak side. The only caveat is a lot of teams run a lot of zone. So then it would make sense to swap them, right? To swap your Sam and your Will and say, Will, you go strong side because you got to get out there. You got to read quickly, plug the hole quickly, and force them back to the Sam. I'm just saying, not as concerned about the Chris Morgan, as I am about the Chris Morgan situation, but that struck me as kind of odd. I would love to be in the room with Coach Flew and ask him the why of that, right? That's for my learning, but I wanted other fans to point that out to other fans because it confused the hell out of me, right? And when I hear the Will is the most important, one of the 3 most important parts of a Tampa 2-4-3 defense, I'm like, that don't register. That didn't register. So I don't know. Just something. That's something. You know what I'm saying? That's just something to think about, man. I don't know if you have a thought on it, but
I mean, the way they use Darius Leonard, I haven't studied Darius Leonard, but he was the Will in that Colts defense. And when I watched taped on Al-Quadin Muhammad, so I've watched that defense a little bit, and Darius Leonard showed up on film all over the place. I wasn't really paying attention to where he was lining up, but whatever they did,
what I'll do.
Magical.
Yeah, that's my homework. So I'm gonna go back and watch Colts film. I'm gonna look to see. Yeah, I'm gonna look to see if they line Darius Leonard up to the strength of the formation, meaning to the numbers. So when y'all, again, I'm taking y'all inside. I'm taking y'all on the field right now, right? When the offense comes up to the line of scrimmage, the Mike calls out the strength of the formation, right? He's gonna give a Larry, a Romeo. He's going to say something that means left or right. He's adjusting to the strength of the formation. And traditionally, the Sam goes to the strength of the formation, right? But what Flew is saying is they send the Will to the strength of the formation. And again, that may be because teams run a lot of zone, and you do need the more quicker, more agile linebacker. You want him to read, diagnose quickly, and get up in that hole quickly to plug that hole up. But watch this, though. The guy that usually gets to the hole first usually doesn't make the play necessarily. It's actually the back 2 guys, the Mike and the Sam. So if Darius Leonard was making plays, it's making me think he was playing Sam because usually his guy on the backside, he's had the time.
You just explained it because he flips him around. He was on Coach Luce's defense, so if he flopped him around, he put the Will on the backside. Is what he does because that guy has the range to come over top and cover.
That's confusing as hell to me, Swift, because again, if he swapped them, normally the Sam will be on the front side. So think about how a zone play runs. Everybody's just stepping to a side and they're trying to eat. If they're going outside, they're trying to seal the outside and beat you to the perimeter, right? That Will has to be fast enough to get out there and beat the blockers and the running back to the point of attack.
Yeah, that's what they have their Sam do. They kind of use him like a fullback, and he just runs in there. Like that's his job. Like that's why that's what Matt Adams did there. He gets to that point of attack and just kind of hits it head on and tries to blow it up.
Yeah, that's confusing because to me now that would be the Sam. That would be Sam getting there. That would be playing it traditional. I'm not understanding this scheme. That's what I'm saying. Weak is weak side. Sam is strong side. Sam is a battering ram, right? He
Mhm.
plugging holes.
That's how he uses them. See, I think he just moves them around on the defense. Basically, he does the same thing with the mic too, and that's one thing where I've seen that clip you're talking about that it was on YouTube. It was from Hard Knocks last year, or the year before. But basically, you can't. It doesn't show how he does the whole defense because there's also another clip where he's talking about how he likes to. He doesn't want teams to know who the mic is, so
Yeah,
he will switch the mic and the will. He likes them to be interchangeable, and that's one thing he likes with Morrow and Roquan is he
yeah.
can kind of basically you don't know where the mic is. He kind of just moves the what is the word I'm looking for? What their responsibilities are for each play. He switches them up, but the
Yeah.
Sam is still always going to play like that battering ram, no matter where he's at. If he's on the strong side or the weak side, he's still smashing in and trying to break up the contact.
I'll say this is how I would use it, right? To make sense, to make it make sense to me. If I'm playing a primarily power driven team, a power zone team, a power team with counters and power plays,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna play it traditional. I'm gonna have Sam to the strong side of the formation, and he's gonna plug holes that way. If I'm playing a strong outside zone team, I'm gonna have a will to the strength of the formation and say, okay, see ball, hit ball, diagnose it. If you see them stepping zone, hurry up and beat them to the point of contact with your speed and agility, and force everything back for the Mike and Sam in that situation to clean up. Right? It's just when I saw it when I saw him explaining it, I'm like, bro, this is confusing. But when I thought about the zone heavy schemes that everybody runs, then I was like, okay, that makes sense. Then I don't want to. I have time to diagnose it during the season on film, and it'll come to me. You know what I'm saying? Somebody asked if I thought that Chris Morgan was losing this offensive line room. I don't know. It's too early to tell. John asked that question. John, it's too early to tell, and I don't want to speculate. But what I'll say is this: if you're not competent as a coach, and that doesn't seem to be Chris Morgan's resume, but if you're not competent as a coach, you will lose your team. You will lose the room, player wise, and players will circle the wagons and start taking care of each other. Um, they will start taking each other and coaching each other. But I'm gonna tell you, if he's losing the room, you're gonna be able to tell real fast. You're gonna tell it's gonna be a mutiny up front. And again, with this team, with the culture they're creating, there's even though we don't have the big name players, there is no reason why this group up front should not be good. I mean, at least decent, right? I'm talking about. I'm not talking about all five of the guys can block, one-on-ones and win one-on-ones. I'm talking about the collective is greater than the sum, and they should be able to, the five of them, plus a running back or tight end here and there, be able to keep Justin clean, right? That's outside of Musty. I think that should be what the expectations be. But I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on what happens with Morgan. Whatever I can pick up from game, HBO, any kind of media interaction, I'm watching that cat. I'm just saying. He's on alert. So that's all I got for you, Swifty. I already gave myself the Drunk Uncle Award, bro, but you know what I'm saying?
Awarded it. That was good. It was good having you back, Coach. I didn't know if you were going to be here this week or not. You're going to be back next
I
week.
could not miss camp coverage, bro. I couldn't do it, bro. It's too many good things, too many stuff, too many talk happened this week. It was just a matter of me catching up last night and seeing. Do me a favor, guys, if you haven't already, go do me a favor, man. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you're watching this on the playback. Also, if you're watching this on the playback, bro, do me a favor. I know the shows are long. Just speed the timing up, bro. Run it 1.2, 1.5. You know what I'm saying? Watch it in spurts, bro. And I'm gonna also do the you know what I'm saying, a little snippet during the week throughout the season for shorter content and more focused stuff. But I'm not changing the format, bro. You know what I'm saying? Also, this is why I got my boy Swifty out there, bro. He's putting out videos almost every day. You want to catch up with what's going on with Coach T and Swifty, bro? Subscribe to his channel. right? Like the comments, comment, run the algorithm up for Swifty. He's over there, Swifty Sports Network on YouTube. Great content, and he's gonna give you that short format stuff, bro. I got a full-time job. Swift, they work my tail off over there, bro.
You were working on vacation the whole time?
Bro,
I
I
thought
was
you
on
were gonna say
vacation.
something
My
like
wife and daughter was on vacation.
that.
I was getting it in. I had the first day Monday to tour around London, and I had a little bit the last day. Other day it was 10 and 12-hour days, and then also we had to go and do team bonding and dinners after work, bro. It was a great time. I learned a lot, but mind you, I started in April, and I'm drinking from a fire hose. So that's why I said the one thing I can resolve about this and how it relates to my work and what I do here on Chicago Bears 360 is this: what I resolve from that, what I experienced, and the level of seriousness as a platform I have professionally. I learned, bro, I'm not gonna be on Bears Twitter, Chicago Bears 360 beefing with nobody, bro. This is an escape from all the responsibility I have in the real world, bro. And so I resolved, bro, if you got a problem with Coach T and or Swifty, man, that's your problem. I'm gonna let you hold that, sit with that, you know what I'm saying? All that stuff, man. But I will do this. And Swifty, I know you may feel how me and Swifty don't do that with each other, bro. We give each other space to be who we are. But I will do something huge, man, and mention something huge that happened this week during the Bears presser, man. And I'm a big proponent in this, bro. If you violate publicly, you apologize publicly, right? If you violate me publicly, you apologize publicly, and that way, if I don't have to coerce you to do that, then I respect you tremendously for me. So shout out to my boy Barely Smo from formerly with TTNL, who during the Bears presser the other day in the chat publicly apologized for violating, man. And again, it's all love for me, bro. This is a labor of love for me. Whether it's genuine, authentic, or not, he did it. He didn't have to do it. Don't mean we gonna be buddies, chums, or whatever that in the Bears chat. I'm just saying, look, we men. That's huge of you. Shout out to you. You know what I'm saying? We'll take it from there, man. Whatever I can do to support you, you know what I'm saying? I'm here for you. We'll let time tell how it develops from there. But you know what I'm saying? I don't know if you got anything on that, Swift, but I just wanted to say that.
No comments. No comments from me on it.
Hey, we individuals, man. Everybody allowed.
Hey, man. Hey, that used to be a good friend of mine, man. I rocked with him for a long time, but he blocked me because I chose to be on this show, and he hasn't reached out and said a word to me. So
well, maybe that's maybe that's coming, Swift. I mean, I'm not gonna tell another grown man how to do his thing.
Oh yeah, exactly, man. I don't care about any of that, Coach. It's things that I just don't even worry about right now, man. It's beyond me. I'm here to talk Bears and Bears only, baby.
Listen, John Russell said, "Coach, give me that hoodie." No, absolutely not, bro.
Yeah, I kind of want that too, man. That thing's fire.
It's a present from my kids, man. Listen, also, I'm just joking with you. I'm definitely not giving you my hoodie though. But check this out. Check this out, Swifty. Guess what? I may be going to the season opener, man. So I may see you up there. So we have to link up. I'm definitely going to have 3 games on the slate. Also, I want to let the fans know. Listen, if you're coming to the city for the Atlanta game, if you're coming down to the area for the Atlanta game, inbox me on Twitter. Because I'm trying to set up some kind of ATL takeover for Bears fans where I have something scheduled each night for Bears fans. And then also what I'm going to try to do is do a live show from the tailgate outside of Mercedes-Benz Stadium for the show that week. So if you're coming down for the Chicago Bears takeover for ATL, hit me up, DM me, let me know you're going to be here. I'm trying to get a feel for who's going to be here so we can make it happen. Swift, listen, bro, as always, you my guy, man. I have enjoyed this collaboration, man. Me and Swift, y'all don't see it. We talk candidly and openly off camera about just life in general, man. And I appreciate, what our relationship is becoming, man. Outside of, you know what I'm saying, Chicago Bears 360, man. I respect the hell out of you, bro. And
for sure,
looking forward to it. And I want you to make it down for the ATL thing, bro. So let's talk.
I'll try, man. I'll try. Down in Atlanta?
Yeah, man. We try and set it up, man. We make something happen, bro. We whatever.
Justin Fields' hometown.
That's it, man. We'll ride up to Kennesaw and ride up to Kennesaw. Maybe do some stuff from Kennesaw with Justin Strum, and take it from there, man. Shout out to my pops in the comment, man.
It's out there.
My best friend, man, in this whole wide world, bro. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to my pops, man. Just reaffirming me as a son as I went to take on a huge challenge in London this week, man. That validation, that encouragement from your old man makes life. You need that push sometimes, Swift. Still is a big grown man, man. I need that validation from my pops, man. So huge shout out to him for being there for me, man. I took on a big task this week, man. I think I did all right. So listen, that's it for the Bears, Chicago Bears 360, man. I'll see y'all next Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 Central, bro. Until then, man. Hey, Swifty, what is it you always say? Knowledge over
narratives, baby. Knowledge
me,
over.
Bro. And me, bro, it's research over me search, man. I'm Coach T, that's Swifty, man. Y'all bear down. We're going to see y'all next time. We out of here. Peace.